this lesson we will be modeling the headlights. We'll make one, duplicate it over, and we'll also scale it down and use it for our taillights in the back. So let's go ahead and get started. Under Create, Polygon Primitives, make sure the interactive creation is turned off. And let's start with a sphere. And there it is in the center. I'm going to go ahead and isolate that, turning everything else off. So under Show, Isolate Selection, I'm going to select View Selected. And what that does, it just shuts everything else off but that selection. So let's start off by selecting the input over here and reducing the subdivisions down to 12. And coming into the side view here in wireframe mode so we can see what we're doing. We're going to shape the top of it first. The top portion of it is essentially the front of the headlight where the glass is, and the lower portion here is going to be the chrome area that will illuminate from the inside. So we'll start by selecting Vertex. I'm going to grab these upper rows here and scale them down, sort of flattening them out and then pushing them down, and let's scale them up a little bit too. And now on the bottom, I'm just going to select the bottom couple of rows here and work my way up, just scaling it down, dragging a marquee up to the next row, and just continue scaling those down, kind of turning it into more of an egg shape instead of a sphere. And now that we have that, let's move that up into place. Looks like it got a little too small. I'm going to widen it a bit, scale it up. Okay. And now that we have that, let's go ahead and separate it by coming to Face, selecting those top portions, those top faces, and coming under Mesh, Extract. So you can see now, if we hit Q, we can go back and forth between the two. And just separated those. That way when we apply our materials here, we'll have two separate pieces here and we won't have to reselect faces to apply materials to those. Alright, now that we have that, let's create a frame that goes around here. This will be the chrome portion, and we'll do that by creating a polygon torus. We need to first add that selection to our isolated group here. So just say Add Selected Objects, and there it is. And let's click on the inputs over here. Let's reduce the subdivisions in the axis to match that of the sphere, and the height we'll bring down to 8. And let's go ahead and bring the radius down quite a bit, 0.1, and we can scale this up a little bit and go ahead and move it into position. It's actually still a little wide. Maybe 0.1 was okay, or 1 was okay. We didn't need the 1.1. And I'm going to elongate it now. We need this to be just a little wider to fit the curvature of the front end of the car. So I'm going to scale it like that. Push it down here into position, and let's select 3 and just sort of take a look at what it's doing there, as well as selecting 3 on our keyboard for the other 2 objects. And I think that's looking okay. We might have to do a little shaping once we get it into place, but I think overall this will work. The only other thing we need to add now is what's going to be the lamp inside here that will be illuminated with a glow material. And we'll just use a polygon sphere for that as well. Let's add that to our selection and scale it down. Let's go into wireframe mode so we can see that. That's probably about the right size, and I'm going to push it down here just to the base of that, what will be our chrome enclosure here. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go ahead and select it all and group it with Control G. And you can see it, some of it disappeared there. Let's just turn our isolation off, and it all shows up back there. And let's move it to the front of the car and begin shaping it now. So we're going to place it right here. First thing we should do is just go ahead and scale it all down and rotate it in X 90 degrees. We might have to change that a little bit just because of the angle we have here on the vehicle, the front of it. And if you've customized yours in any way, you'll probably have to sort of modify the shape of this to get it to fit correctly. I'm going to make mine kind of on the small side and push it back in a little more. And I'm going to hit, it's kind of a small object here, so I just selected F on the keyboard, so now it is rotating around that instead of kind of losing control of it. And it looks like this piece right here is going to have to get shaped a little bit. I'm going to bring it out here first, and actually just going into side view is probably a bit easier, like that, and selecting the vertices. I'm selecting sort of the outside two rows here, and I think if we rotate this, it will fit that curvature a little bit better on the cart, and then pull it out a little bit, and that should help quite a bit. So let's get out of that, come back into our perspective, and select the object and just push it back into place here. And if I arrow up, it will select that whole group instead of going in and clicking on each one. Shift click, just arrow up on the keyboard and it will grab the whole group. We'll do that for any group. And well, we've got another curve sort of going this way, so we're going to have to kind of modify. I think what I'm going to do is just sort of cheat a little bit and just angle the whole headlight out a little bit like that, and maybe just kind of rotating it up a little too. Okay, so just go ahead and spend a little time shaping that so it fits the curvature of the front. And once you've done that, you can come to the front view, and we're going to snap that pivot point to the center here by selecting Insert. You can see that that's now changed over. So grabbing the manipulator in X, I'm going to move this over and line it up here. If I actually select X first on my keyboard and then grab the manipulator, it will snap over to the next grid right there. And that's what we want. We want it on the center one. And select Insert again to get out of that. And let's come back here. So now that we have that moved to the center, we can duplicate Special and have this show up over here under Edit, Duplicate Special, select the option box, and the scale, this is X, Y, Z across here, so under X I'm going to say -1 and duplicate Special. Once you have completed your headlights, you can duplicate one of them and bring it back here and shape it and scale it into a tail light. And after completing one of those, you can just repeat the process of snapping the pivot point to the center and then duplicate Special the other tail light over. One small detail that I missed when making the headlight was eliminating the triangles that we created here using the sphere. A very quick way of doing that is selecting Edge and just coming in here and shift selecting every other edge around and deleting them. And now we have quads, which is what we want to keep. So make sure you go around to the headlights and taillights, as well as any other areas such as the hubcap, and eliminate those triangles.